Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here, back from the NAWCQ. Yeah, what an event. I mean, crazy to be honest. First of all, I want to congratulate all of the world's representatives for North America, especially my friend Aditya. Congratulations to him and all of them. Secondly, to everybody who came up to me and who talked to me and who said hi or said something about my content or recognized me at all. Thank you, had me sign things. Thank you so much to everyone who did that. Honestly, it is something that feels surreal, but also not real. I'm not very used to it, and but I do appreciate it. Again, I'm not very good in those type of social interactions, so if I was a little weird or off, please forgive me. But I do just please thank you, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you. It was really fun and nice talking to everybody as well. But with all of that being said, I wanted to talk about the event. So as I said, I prepared for this event with Tenpai for a good amount of time. I think it was roughly about 2 weeks when I was pretty locked in on the deck, until about the last maybe 3 or 4 days or so, where I switched back off the Snake Eye. And I have posted both of those deck profiles previously on the channel very quickly, very briefly. And I'm going to go over one of the Tenpai lines that I found while doing that I didn't really see a lot of people doing online with Tenpai. I told a couple of my friends at the event when I was there. They weren't playing it either, but it was just a little interesting thing as a going first line for Tenpai that I didn't see a lot of people doing, and I think is worth knowing for Tenpai players. Also, I wanted to show the side deck of the deck profile that I had before because I didn't show it. I didn't even have it made at the time because I was so not worried about it. I already started deconstructing the deck, and I'm like, you know what? I wanted to show this because there was I put a lot of time and effort into it. But now I'll show you the side deck. It's nothing crazy. It's pretty simple and straightforward. But yeah, just very quickly, I wanted to show it to you before I show you the combo. So again, if you enjoy, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So if you missed the last deck profile of the Tenpai, this was pretty much what it was. This was the deck that I was using, or I was going to use at the event, and then I switched off. But for the side deck that I didn't show, it was going to be 3 Cosmic, 3 DDG, 3 Trap Trick, 3 Dimensional Barrier, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and 1 Thrust. I should have mentioned in that video the reason why I did not play Tenpai. More other than Snake Eye bad, Snake Eye too good, Tenpai not good enough. The reason was in the side deck. I think was actually one of the biggest reasons, and it's why I didn't think about it or think to mention it at the time, was because when you are playing Tenpai, and let's say you beat your opponent game 1, right? You do not know what your opponent is going to do. And while I was testing with this deck, multiple times I had opponents either make me go first or they still went first. There was no really way to tell which way they were going to go. And again, in a 12 rounds of Swiss, 13 rounds of Swiss, and then another 6 or 7 rounds of Top Cut, I'm not trying to make that prediction of how people are gonna interpret me going first or second. That's too much. It's not enough dice roll, especially when the best deck is playing through hand traps like it's no tomorrow. Even though my deck is so geared towards it, and I want to put these blowout cards in, but I don't know when to do it, right? And with Prosperity, you would assume that you would have 9 copies of different dimension grounds or 9 copies of Dimensional Barrier respectively, and then you have the backer removal and then Thrust to possibly get into these still, but neither here nor there. This last slot we weren't really sure on, so this could be really anything, but these were the 13 that we were pretty set on. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the side deck. I wanted to go over it. Just that is a main part of Tenpai that I was really problematic while playing it, where again, people do not, especially competitive players, when they're playing different gimmicky things with Fiendsmith as well, you can do the Beatrice line and the rollback, and then you can't interact with that, right? You can have all the lightning storms you want, but if you get Mayakashi'd and rollbacked, you're not playing. You're not playing and beating that. They're going to get another turn, and you're going to lose. And I didn't want to make that risk. And as we saw, even with players I believe, what was it? I think Patrick Hoban and friends was playing the Beatrice cheese lines with whether it be Dimensional Barrier with the spell card that searches any trap. It's too much risk, then not enough reward. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. But while doing testing for this deck, and though I did not land on this combo for going first in the event that I was going to use, I think it is still a combo worth knowing. And the main thing is using Fiendsmiths with Tenpai. And a lot of people would say, why would you use Fiendsmiths with Tenpai? Well, one, Fiendsmiths are a broken engine. The engine is, after playing with it now, in hand for an event, It's one of the most absurd things I've played with. They're very strong and really resilient. It's just very, very good. And I feel like a lot of decks should be playing them because they just add so much value everywhere you have them. But there's an actual line that is not synergistic, but where you can get good enough board to where you are going to pretty much guarantee you getting a pass turn back to you and follow up for the following turn, as well as a negate, which I really, really like. And for those of you who don't know, there is a trap card for Tenpai that I wanted to go over very quickly because it is very, very good, and I wasn't playing it. It's Sangan Kaiho. During the main phase, if all monsters you control are fire dragon monsters, minimum 1, and your opponent controls more monsters than you do, end the main phase. If there are 3, and then the second effect doesn't really matter. The main phase ending is the main part that I want to talk about. So I have a combo here as well. I'm going to visualize it for you. But the main thing is during the main phase, if all monsters you control are fire dragon monsters, minimum 1, and your opponent has more monsters than you do, end the main phase. So the main thing I wanted to focus on here is the fact that when your opponents are playing, a lot of the times they are going to have Snake Eye Ash and a Snake Eye Poplar. That is very regular for the Snake Eye deck. So what is the board that, or cards, a combination of cards that actually help you in that scenario? And what I came up with was something like this. There are many different ways of doing this, but this is a very simple one of Dora and Engraver. If I was to play this in a build, maybe you play more copies of Dora. That deck building with this got very weird at points because then you can't play Shifter as well. So, give it with a grain of salt, but it was still something that I think is worth sharing. So we're going to use the Fiendsmith Engraver immediately to add Fiendsmith Tract. Then you are able to use the Tract to get the Lurry. You are able to pitch the Lurry, special the Lurry, and then you are able to link it off into Requiem. Use the Requiem so that you can get another Fiendsmith Engraver. And then you can use the Engraver in Graveyard to be able to summon itself back. We only really care about going into a rank 6. We don't want a sequence up top. That is not the goal here. So the Fiendsmith package in this deck was actually going to be very minimal. It was just going to be Requiem. I believe Necroquip was in there in case you draw Tract. And I feel like I'm forgetting a card. Maybe Closed Sky was the other option as well. I believe that also gets into it. So just something to clarify. And then we're going to overlay those two for Evolzar Lars, which for those of you who do not know is a fire dragon, of course. And then while it has a material, your opponent can target a monster effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card to target a face-up card your opponent controls, negates effects until the end of the turn. So it's pretty much a negate of a card. That's the main thing. It's just a negate by detaching both materials because it doesn't have reptile and dinosaur under it. So this is a negate for any card. And we need a way to guarantee back to our turn. So the way we're going to do that is through Dora Draco, getting Genroku summoning itself, using Genroku to summon out Pydra, and then using Pydra effect to get Sengen Kaiho, and then you're able to do the normal link off into Hermetic Seal, and then set the Sengen Kaiho. Of course, you will most likely have other cards like hand traps, or maybe, like, ideally other trap cards you may have set in for a matchup, but this was just something that you could kind of keep it in engine, which was very nice. So what happens is a lot of the times your opponent, let's just say normal summon Snake Eye Ash, they summon a Poplar effect to search the field spell. So what's going to happen is you are going to use the Hermetic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. I actually should have kept going for this replay, but I didn't. I'll just tell you. You're going to use Hermetic Seal's effect as Chain Link 1 to bounce back either the Poplar or the Snake Eye Ash. Then you are going to use Chain Link 2 the Sengen Kaiho now, because you only have one monster on the field since Seals is gone, and it's the only fire dragon you have on the field, and you do not have a white dragon on the field anymore, so this can resolve. So Chainlink 1 is going to be Hermetic Seal, Tribute for Cost. Chainlink 2 is going to be Sengen Kaiho to end the main phase. So what's going to happen is the main phase is going to go to the battle phase, and then Seal in Graveyard, Seal is going to resolve, bounce back the Poplar, most likely, and then the Seal effect in Graveyard is now going to use its effect to then summon out either something. It could be a couple things. You could get Pydra for follow-up. You can get Fadra. This is probably the coolest one, I think, at least, is you can get Fadra for Genroku effect tribute itself to get Chandra effect to Synchro. Then you can go into either the level 7 Tenpai, or you can go into the Moon Rose Dragon as another interruption and bounce away the Snake Eye Ash 2, so that that effect isn't lingering there anymore. Or again, you can go into the Tenpai level 7 Synchro, bring back a Pydra effect to then get your follow-up. So then you have the 7 and the Pydra. Use the Pydra effect to Synchro still into the 10, and then force the Snake Eye Ash to crash into the actual 10 itself. So that, again, it's a lot, and you now they're forced to be in main phase 2. You interrupted their main play, and you still have a Lars on the field, and you're already starting the next turn with the level 10 Synchro and a follow-up card in your hand, most likely in the form of Sangan Summoning or the quick play spell Sangan Kaiman. Really puts you very far ahead. As well, if you actually use the Lars, you get the Fiendsmith utility back in graveyard to then go, put back Requiem, use link one off, go into another, go back into Requiem, get another Fiendsmith, send away a card, and you just get more utility that way. So again, this is just a small thing that I wanted to share that I don't see a lot of Tenpai players doing, but I think it is worth knowing as Tenpai, and gives you a option to at least use the Fiendsmith package in the deck, so that, because these cards are also very good at breaking boards. I need to make that very clear. The Fiendsmith cards are extremely strong at also breaking boards, being able to threaten Apo, being able to threaten the big fusion monster as well, being able to send away with Fiendsmith Engraver. There is also a line where you are able to go, obviously you can go Beatrice, send a Tenpai card, and then Promethean Princess back the Tenpai card. That's obviously still online as well. There's also a line where you are able to make the Link 2 fusion, and then you are able to actually make Dessa Eye under it, and then you're able to link off the Dessa Eye into, with the link off the Dessa Eye with the Link 2 to then go into a Link 3, and then that allows you to use the Dessa Eye graveyard effect to also send away a card your opponent controls. So the Fiendsmith package could also send away 2 cards your opponent controls. Just a bunch of small things that I think are really, really important to know overall. But yeah, that's just something different that I don't see a lot of Tenpai players doing. And my main event experience at the NAWCQ, very fun event. And, obviously congratulations to everybody who was there. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something from this, because again, this is something I don't see done a lot. So again, if you enjoyed, please subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.